Bagfuel, baby.
What's the real story of how you got on the Breakfast Club? What happened for real? What was the
what
call?
I swear, what you've heard multiple times
I
is the
didn't
real
hear
story.
nothing, but I'm saying everybody says the real story. Those type of things don't just occur. So
They don't.
If that's why, if you got the call, cool. But
what call?
If you got the call and you just came up there, I don't know the story, but
we really don't know.
But I don't watch content, so because you got to stay there.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So tell me about the process. We can skip
She
on that
delivered.
if everybody knew about being able to stay there and were you expecting that?
No, I was not expecting it. I'm really big on God. I talk a lot about God and my faith because it be that. Like you said, those things just don't happen. They don't. When I was at TMZ, I just knew that it was time for me to leave. I felt like I hit the point where like I wasn't gonna grow there anymore. And I also needed to get back closer to home, like closer to my family. Cause my mom had things happening medically and like, I'm oldest girl in the family, oldest child, but also the girl, my grandmother as well, and they're getting up there in age. And it was just certain things happening and I was just like, yo, I gotta get to the East Coast. But I was like, what am I gonna do for work? And I used to jokingly say, if I'm not working at TMZ, it's gonna have to be my own show. I'm gonna have to be like at like a Breakfast Club, because who is gonna be able to handle my mouth? Like the way I talk and the fact that I'm not like traditional journalist, I'm not local news girl, Oprah. Like I don't give that vibe, but I can compete. But I'm not like a typical, like I don't check certain boxes that a lot of local news stations look for and all the things. And I didn't want to have to. Like I wanted to be able to wear my hair the way I wanted to, dress how I wanted. And Angela Yee said she wasn't staying on the show no more, and that went super viral. I reached out, set up a shot with her. I had the TMZ cameras come and run into her on her exit. And she just happened to mention that, because I thought that it had to be a celebrity that was going to take the seat. Just because the Breakfast Club is the Breakfast Club, and I didn't think that they would be interested in like newcomers whatsoever. And I jokingly said it, and she was like, yeah, no, throw your hat in the ring. And I was like, for real? She was like, yeah. And I was like, okay. So from that day until the first day y'all saw me on the Breakfast Club, I did everything I could just to because I didn't know any of them. I didn't even know Angela Yee. I had cold reached out and just set up the shop, which was my job at TMZ, like just be able to get to somebody when you need to, get the content you need and get out. But I was doing stuff like if I knew, because I knew a lot of managers, publicists and stuff like that because of my news producer role at TMZ. So if you had an artist and I knew that was your artist and you had them on Breakfast Club or you was any type of publicist or anything that I thought you knew Charlamagne or knew Envy, I was hitting you like, here's my resume, here's my reel, send it to them. When you send it to them, screenshot. I want to see that they got it. So everybody was sending it back, and it got to a point where like they were sending it back. And I remember one time, I forget who it was. I think it might have been B-Dot. It was either B-Dot or Karen Civil. B-Dot from Rap Radar. I had same thing. Told them like, yo, shoot this over to them. And it was one of them that Charlamagne responded to him, was like, yeah, we keep seeing her resume and tell her to hit Eddie. And I'm like, who is Eddie? I never knew who Eddie, I didn't know this was a person that I had to talk to. So I called my manager, was like, hey, they talking about there's somebody named Eddie at the Breakfast Club, and he's the person that's going to say, yes, I can come there or not. So we did some digging. She called some radio contacts she had, our manager, Tanisha, and her friend was like, oh, that's Eddie F. He's the executive producer of the show. I'm like, get me to Eddie F. Gotta talk to him. So we hitting him. Eddie is not responding. My mom had a doctor's appointment. So my mom's a cancer survivor. So I was flying in and out of New York just literally probably like twice a month from LA, just taking her to follow-up scans and stuff. So she had a follow-up scan. I called my manager. I'm like, look, my mom got a scan next week. So I'm flying to LA flying to New York next week. If Eddie don't respond, I know where their studio is. I'm just going to go and I'll sit there until Eddie walks out and we'll talk on his way out of the studio. She was like, I don't want you to have to do that. I was like, well, I will, so we can figure it out, but I'm going to. She was like, well, let's just keep trying. Her friend ended up getting Eddie to pick up the phone, I don't even know how, and he agreed to meet with me when I came into New York, just to meet me. He was like, I don't know her. Before I throw her in the room with the guys, I just want to meet her. I came, my mom sat outside in the car after her scans. Me and Eddie talked for about 2 hours. And I was like, all right, bet he like me. Like he at least thinks I'm cool. He know I'm not because I think people get scared when you say TMZ. So I'm like, okay, he knows that I'm a okay person. So then I asked him off rip, I'm like, what would it take for me to be able to do the guest hosting? And he was like, you just gotta be, not scared. I need people in that seat who are not afraid, who can handle the room, whatever. And I was like, but how do you know that if you don't put me in a seat? And he was like, well, we'll see. We can figure that out maybe for a day. So he had gave me a date. The date changed like 3-4 times. I'm like, man, it's not happening. Mind y'all, I wanted to quit my job, but I didn't know what to do. So all of this is happening, dates keep changing, whatever. And I'm like, okay. Not only do I not know what I want to do after this, but my plan was, if I do get that one day guest hosting at the Breakfast Club, if I leave my job prior to that, I can let the world know, hey, here's everything I've done, and I need a job now, and I'm in New York, so like, where's the jobs at? And then I also thought about not quitting and just doing Breakfast Club, even though TMZ at the time, Harvey had told me, no, I couldn't do it, and saying there, like, I don't want to go back to TMZ.
TMZ didn't want you to do a Breakfast Club?
No, Harvey didn't want me to do the Breakfast Club.
Oh, wow.
He just felt like, first, he felt like he didn't know what to expect. And for him, and I understand, and I told him this in person, I'm like, I get it. I own a business as well. I own a brand as well. And I know that, like, for you, it's like protection. Like, you don't know what's going to be said. You don't know how I'll react. That is a very big room, very big platform. You just don't know. Like, I've done panels and stuff, so they knew I knew how to speak, and they put me on specials, and I'm on prime time and all that. But I think it's different when you can't control what's going to happen. So he was like, I can't take the risk. And when he said that to me, I just started thinking, and I'm like, I respect it, but if I stay here, I'm always going to be a part of his brand, his company. And as long as he can't take the risk on me, my career, my life depends on a risk, and he don't want to take it. So what am I going to do? And I remember sitting there and being like, I'm listening to him, and I'm like, it's not even no hard feelings, but I can't rock with that. Like, I gotta go. Like, that was my confirmation of like, no, you need to quit. Like, you need to resign, do it the right way. Don't just pop up somewhere and he done told you not to do it. Resign, let him know that, because I didn't resign because of Breakfast Club. That was already coming. My time there was just done. And when I resigned, he was so confused. Like, Harvey didn't really understand why. I remember he called me and was like, what the hell happened? What's going on? Because he's used to me, like, when something happens, I'm open, like, yo, I'm not okay with this. This person said this, whatever. They're used to that. Very sojourner truth to a certain extent. But he respected that I was vocal, so he didn't get it. He's like, yo, normally if something's wrong, like, y'all come to me, you talk to me. And I was like, nothing's wrong. I just think my time is done. And the arrangement in the beginning was give them a certain amount of time for them to hire somebody, and so there's a transition so that they're just not left one less person. But I didn't really like the way that things were handled over the next couple days, and just the way that I was like dismissed. Like, Harvey wouldn't even speak to me after a certain point, and then I got called in the office by my boss at the time, who they ended up firing anyway. And he's, it was a conversation, and I don't know if he thought he was helping me, but I didn't take it well. Like, he said to me, I think you should, because the conversation was about whether I was going to give them 2 weeks or about a month. And I said to him, I'll give you guys 2 weeks, but I literally can't afford to give you longer than that, because, and I didn't want to tell him everything, but like, I knew I had Breakfast Club coming up, but also too, like, I had things happening personally with my mom that I'm like, yo, I got to be on the East Coast for this. And instead of me going there and coming back and doing all the things, it just makes sense for me to just go and then figure it out. And he was like, well, I just want to, I just don't want you to make things hard for yourself. And I was like, what's that supposed to, I literally said, what's that supposed to mean? And he was like, well, like, you just want to, I was like, because if it's about the reputation thing and leave you guys in a good standing, 2 weeks is, I think that's enough time. Unless you're asking me for more time, but y'all are not giving me a time period. Y'all just saying, let y'all figure it out. He was like, yeah, I just want to make sure, you're not, basically, like, you're not damaging yourself. Like, you're not rubbing people the wrong way. And I kind of took that as a threat. So I was like, I left out the room and I was like, oh yeah, I'm done. Like, y'all got until the end of the week with me.